Snow fell softly outside the windows of Westbrook Medical Center, casting faint shadows through the pale blue curtains of room 317. Inside, the air was heavy, hushed except for the rhythmic beeping of life support. On the bed lay Elias Grant, once a vibrant storyteller, a father with an infectious laugh and a spark for mischief. Now, after 8 months in a coma following a brain aneurysm, he was a shell, tethered to machines. The doctors had delivered their verdict that morning. There had been no change, no brain activity. Tomorrow, they said, we'll talk about discontinuation. Mira Grant, Elias's wife, stood by the window, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. She had barely left his side in weeks. But today, she made one request. "Bring Baxter," she whispered. Baxter, a golden retriever with a graying muzzle and eyes that carried oceans of feeling, had been Elias's constant companion for over a decade. He had waited by the door every evening since the accident, tail still wagging when he heard any car approach. Today, Mira brought him to say goodbye. The nurse led Baxter into the room on a loose leash, but the dog stopped just inside the doorway. His usual cheer seemed dulled. He didn't bound forward. He just looked, head tilted slightly, ears twitching. "It's okay, boy," Mira murmured, her voice breaking. "Go to him." Baxter padded slowly to the bed. He placed his front paws on the edge, leaned his face toward Elias's, and sniffed quietly. Then, he climbed up and carefully settled himself on Elias's chest, like he had done 1,000 times before on cold winter nights. Time passed. The machines beeped. A nurse tried to coax Baxter off, but the dog didn't budge. He lay there, still as stone, his chin resting on Elias's heart. A silent vigil. After several long minutes, Dr. Ramos entered with a clipboard. "We should get the dog out," she said gently. "It's time," but just then, Baxter's ears perked. His body tensed. He sat up abruptly and looked straight at Elias's face. Then he let out a sharp bark that echoed off the sterile walls. He barked again. And again. "Baxter, hush," Mira said, startled. The dog ignored her. He pressed his snout against Elias's cheek, let out a soft whine, and nudged him with insistent paws. Then the monitor screeched. Not the flat line of failure, something else. Something erratic. The heart rate spiked. Dr. Ramos's pen dropped. "What the hell?" Nurses rushed forward. Numbers on the screen jumped. Blood pressure rose. Oxygen intake increased. The slow beep grew faster, stronger. Mira was frozen. "Elias?" she whispered, clutching his limp hand. A groan. Soft, like a memory. Mira staggered back, eyes wide, then leaned forward again. "Elias, can you hear me?" Another sound, this time clearer, a raspy breath being drawn on its own. Dr. Ramos stood stunned. "That's not possible," she murmured. Elias's fingers twitched beneath Mira's. Then his chest rose in a conscious breath. His eyes fluttered. And opened. Blinking, he turned his head slowly and met the eyes of his old friend, Baxter, who was now wagging his tail so hard it thumped against the bedrails. "Hey, boy," Elias rasped, a ghost of a smile tugging at his lips. Mira gasped, laughter and sobs colliding as she clung to Elias's arm. The nurses were already calling in specialists. Words like anomaly and unprecedented filled the room, but they barely registered. Baxter licked Elias's cheek again and rested his head on his chest, calm now. His job, for today, was done. He hadn't come to say goodbye. He had come to bring Elias